Packers in trouble if they lose on Monday night?
You know, I've been going back and forth with this, and they would be definitely staring down the alley of trouble.
Staring down the alley of trouble.
They would. Like
I think that's a no.
That's a kind of a no.
Yeah, like they wouldn't necessarily be in trouble because we've seen them lose games and then get back on track. However, after losing to the Panthers in the fashion of which you've lost to them, and then knowing what we know about this team, losing to them week 1 to open the season last year, getting your season ended by them last year, and Jordan Love not playing great, it just wouldn't feel good because you're then looking at their schedule and saying, where's the win that tells us that this team is really, really good? Now, I picked them to win the Super Bowl and get there, obviously. Detroit, week 1, we almost are wanting to throw that out because Detroit hasn't looked anything like that since. And so you need to put together some type of win against a team like this. If you are going to be the team that we expect you to be, you're going to have to face a team that's going to be in your way. And this is one that's going to consistently be in your way in the NFC.
I do not think they'd be in trouble. I think you make a good point that would be at least three straight losses, 3 in the last 2 years to the Eagles. So that could be deflating, right? You're like, can we get over the hump against this team? But I also feel like when you are a good team and you lose to the defending Super Bowl champion, that can't deflate you. It's like they're great too. I mean, so it's not like we lost to a bad team again. And I also think, Greg, the thing is they have gotten up for the good teams.
Yes, their
Detroit,
problem has been the bad team.
Washington at that point we thought was a very good team, and they beat one more Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Right, and then it's been the bad teams: Cleveland, Carolina, Dallas. So I expect them to be up for it. Even if they lose, though, they're 5-3-1. Now that would drop them out of the playoffs for the time being, most likely. But because they got Minnesota twice, who is a team they theoretically could be battling with. They got Chicago twice, which is a team they be fighting with for one of those last playoff spots. And they still play Detroit. Now, I don't necessarily expect them to sweep Detroit, so they probably will lose that game. But I just still think they have enough games against the teams they're battling with. And we know they're better than Minnesota. They're better than Chicago. They have to play that way. But I still think because that's their schedule, they would still be in fine shape.
So if they lose this game, I don't know that I will just say definitively they're better than Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean you think on paper better.
Going into the year, I had Chicago and Green Bay both as wild cards. I think it's the 6 and the 7. You know what I mean? I didn't find them to be that far apart. Right now, one team's 5-3. Coming off its, arguably best moment of the season. The other team's 5-2-1, coming off arguably its worst moment of the season, or second worst moment of the season. And I think, Dust, I don't know if we can put up whatever version of the standings we have, because your point is correct, Brew. If they lose this game, if we think Chicago's going to beat the Giants and they're favored, they will be out of the playoffs going into this week. I know right now it says they're the 4 seed, but that's not the important part. The important part is the records. And if they lose, you do have Chicago poised for right there. And you also have the possibility of team that almost every year there's a team where like, man, they're not as good as some of those teams that missed the playoffs, but they got to 10 wins, Carolina or whomever, and they stole a spot. And so if you look at then Green Bay's schedule, you're right, Brew. They play all the teams they're competing with. They don't play any soft spots but the Giants. Like,
right,
so it just does at some point, it becomes a bit of a math problem. And
it's so funny that that's what Nick wants to talk about now. But, the important part is the record. But when he was talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, it was nothing about the record when trying to figure out if they're a great team or not. Listen, first off, when we talk about our Packers in real trouble with a loss Monday, they're obviously not talking about like a mathematical record. Are you in the playoffs or not? They're talking about like, are they in real trouble? Like, does that mean like you're not actually a great team, right? Like, or is there problems here? And I'd say no, because the Philadelphia Eagles are a great team, and you can't expect to be if you're a great team, you can't expect to win every single great game. Like that's, or, beat every other great team. It's not how it works. Just watch the Chiefs and the Bills play each other every single year. The Bills and the Ravens. The Ravens and the Bengals when Joe Burrow is actually there. The Eagles and the Ravens. The Eagles and the Bills. Right? Eagles, Chiefs. These games are never straightforward. Yeah, now if the Eagles roll the Packers or something, right? If it's like a 35-7 game, well then yeah, now you're feeling really uncomfortable here. But I don't think anyone's really anticipating that. And just like if the Packers beat the Eagles, it doesn't mean that they're in trouble. I do think both these teams, in a weird way, like the Eagles, obviously they have like the reference point of the Super Bowl and all of that. But I would say that specifically, let's just look at the Eagles and the Packers. We can look at the Eagles, the Packers, and the Lions. I'm leaving the Bucs and the Seahawks out for now. But the Eagles, the Packers, and the Lions. I feel as though that all three of those teams feel that they're great teams, but they need to play better and more consistent. The Eagles have had a rough stretch and some rough games. The Packers obviously had some rough stretch and some rough games. Same thing with the Lions. So all these teams feel that they need to play better and be better. And then they all feel that they need to get it into that next gear. And so a loss does wake you up and accelerate that, where you're just kind of like, if the Eagles passing game doesn't look good against the Green Bay Packers and their struggles, it's like, see, I told you, just because we had a little bit of success against the Vikings and the Giants doesn't mean that there's not more issues. Or, we were able to make do we were able to run the ball with our O-line against the Giants, but we couldn't run the ball against the Packers, right? It becomes a thing. And same thing with the Packers, where it's just like, the Packers are in a little bit of a different situation because it's like they've played well against any of the better teams like they highlighted. So, if they lose here, it would really come down to probably still like Jordan Love's individual play, where if they lose, and Jordan Love throws like an interception or two, or just one interception, but it has true consequences. It's not like, I just threw an interception and it was like 3rd and long and the Eagles got the ball at their own, 30 or something, right? It was like truly like, oh my gosh, you were driving to go up by 3. You just needed to take care of the ball and you threw an interception, whatever. When it's like an actual situational game management type situation, then you're just kind of like, that kind of resets that conversation of, is Jordan Love always going to do this? Is Jordan Love going to be a problem here? But then what Bruce is saying, where it's like, if they lose to the Eagles, we'll wonder, will they ever get over the hump? Like, no. If you think Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are like, gee, can we ever get over the Eagles hump? That's not the way they're thinking. That's not the way how these teams think. And not at all. These guys don't fear each other. They don't fear other teams. Everyone always tries to invent things like the Buffalo Bills fear the Kansas City Chiefs and the Puffs. No, they don't. I'm telling you right now. No, they do not. It's not how these athletes work. Fans maybe do, not the coaching staff, not the players. So throw that out there too. So I disagree. I think this game matters to both the Packers and the Eagles. Because the Eagles kind of righted their ship, but it was against Carson Wentz and the Vikings, and then Jackson Dart and the Giants, and now the Packers are like, another important barometer. And their schedule, I think they play the Packers and the Lions, and then I think their schedule gets a little bit easier. So I think like this is the main stretch of their tough games. And the Packers are coming off of a rough loss, and they need to wake up. So like everyone's like, we got to win now, right? You can look at the standings right now. Like it's big time now. Like these games matter. Everything matters right now significantly. The Eagles lose and the Bucs win, they're no longer the 1 seed, and they no longer have the first round bye. The Packers win, the bye is always a little tricky with their tie is always a little tricky with trying to do the math and see how that all manages. But everything's close. So you have 6-2, 6-2, 6-2 right now. Right? 5-2-1. So it's it's a tight situation. And the Rams are 6-2, which is crazy. I don't even know how that makes sense. There's all these 6-2s. I don't even know how everyone, like, you have to look at how all these tiebreakers are working right now. So, mathematically, if they lose and all that, and you're going up against the Bears, this or that, I do think the Bears are better. Excuse me. I said that backwards. I do think the Packers are better. And this is what Nick is saying now. He's like, well, I don't know if they lose, if they're definitely better. That's because he wants Caleb Williams to be the best quarterback in the division. His whole take was, I am confident that Caleb Williams will prove to be the best quarterback in this NFC North. That is not coming true right now at all so far. And when you watch the Packers play and you watch the Bears play, like I understand the Bears have a lot of potential based on what you're seeing, but I feel as though that the Packers have already truly showed that potential. The Packers have also proven the ability to actually win games where not everything's going right. They think they've shown a lot of resiliency and against another tough team. And they've also shown that they can big brother a tough team, a divisional game, the Lions, the Commanders, etc., etc. So I feel like I have a lot more confidence in that. I have more confidence, significantly more confidence, in the Green Bay Packers defense. So yeah, I know these games matter. I know it's important. I know it's Monday Night Football, Eagles, Packers, let's go, Lambeau. But we don't have to make it something that it's not. We don't have to now say if the Packers lose, they're in real trouble. If the Eagles lose, they're in real trouble. No, at this point of the season, yeah, anytime you lose to a good team, it's always going to be a little bit concerning. It's always going to be a little bit of like, how do I make sense of that game? But that's why, and this always, I always view it this way. It's like, it all depends on how the game is played. How does the game unfold? This game's, 28-28, and then there's just the Eagles win off a 58-yard field goal with 1 second to go. It's like, all right, I'm not, if I'm a Packers fan, I'm not going to feel so bad about that. I'm going to be like, whoa, okay, we're right there with the Eagles. Like, okay, let's go. Let's get after it. If you had to play them in the playoffs again, you wouldn't be like, oh, we can't beat the Eagles. You'd be like, we were right there. And that's really all you're looking for when you're playing the other great teams around the NFL. You just want to feel like you're right there. You just want to feel like you have just as good of a chance to win that game than anything else. So that's why going into a game saying, what would a loss mean? It's like, it depends on how the loss is. If Micah Parsons is irrelevant, if Jordan Love is throwing incompletions all over the place and turning the ball over, if Matt LaFleur can't run the ball, if Saquon Barkley rushes for 180 yards, if A.J. Brown feasts, right? Like, then we're like, okay, that's kind of concerning. But if that's not the game, well, then that's not the game. So, this is definitely one of those games that you just kind of have to be like, we got to just let it play out. There's plenty of other games that we could say, listen, this is what this means. If they win, this is what this means. Loses, this is what we need to see, etc., etc., etc. And for me right now, I'm looking at it from the Eagles and the Packers perspective. This is a must play high quality football. That's what it comes down to. Both teams play high quality football. Both teams are playing high quality football. You always want to come away with a win. But at the end of the day, playing a high quality football against a high quality opponent is what matters most, from my viewpoint. Throwing out the whole math and are you in the playoffs, are you not in the playoffs? Because under the math logic, well then yes, you got to win every game. You got to win every game. You got to beat the Bears. You got to beat the Lions. You got to beat it's like, yeah, we know that. Math is math. Especially with playoff math. There's no cooking those books. Those numbers are as straightforward as possible. So, we're not having a conversation about the standings here. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers? Do you think they would be in real trouble with a loss Monday? Or are they staring down an alley of trouble? Well, I don't even know what Greg said. He knows nothing about Green Bay Packers football. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.